All the major players, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer, as well as the Chinese Vice Premier Liu He, were all meeting today for the first of their 2 days of discussions. There's growing expectation here that the two sides are trying to hammer out the framework of an agreement that would act as a basis for a summit between President Trump and President Xi at a later date, possibly as early as next month. The feeling is that any final decision is going to be made by those two leaders if they do indeed meet. Now, so far what we know is that a lot is on the table, but there hasn't been a whole lot of progress on some of the stickier structural issues or on how to enforce a deal once it's all worked out. However, the two sides might have more time because Bloomberg is citing sources as saying that President Trump is considering extending the deadline by 2 months, so a 60-day extension. Now, separately, there was trade data that we got out of here for January, which really gave us a good look as to how the tariffs are impacting the trade relationship between the U.S. and China. And it might not be the way you would think. The export figures to the U.S. in January were down, but they were up overall by 9%. So more shipments to Japan, Europe, as well as to Southeast Asia. Now, what was even more interesting is how sharply imports to the U.S. fell by 41.2%. So that's been raising a lot of questions as to who is and who is not actually being hurt by these tariffs, because this data, though it is just 1 month, seems to suggest that American exporters are actually getting more hit than Chinese exporters. And it also lends to the argument that you hear a lot here in China among the business community that even though the U.S. is an important market for China, it has limited influence with the Chinese because the Chinese, at the end of the day, can sell to the rest of the world.